sometimes it takes that shad spawn like 30, like not 30 minutes, but maybe like a little bit. All right, good morning everybody. Adrian Arena, MillerTech Pro. We're out here on a brand new lake. We're actually down here in Florida, state of the Sunshine State. Sunshine State. And we're actually on Orange Lake. This is our heavy hitters event. We're out here practicing. And you know, this is a new body of water for me. You know, I did fish it one time, so it's not totally new. But right now the whole state is under severe drought and the water is extremely low. To me, this is a brand new lake for me then. You know, different time of year I'm fishing it and under different circumstances. So right now, you actually see me, I'm buzzing the bank. I'm actually looking for a shad spawn. The first thing I actually was looking for was these herons, and there's actually a few of them on this bank. But essentially, whenever I'm looking for a shad spawn in the morning, trying to break down a new lake, what I personally like to do is I call it a hot lap. I like taking a lap of the lake, really seeing as much as I can, and marking where I see birds. You know, it's all about reading the conditions that you have. And generally speaking, when you're looking for a shad spawn, you want that water temperature to be up 65 plus, but we're here in the state of Florida, so the water temperature is actually 80, and that's actually still a really good time for a shad spawn. Now, I don't know if that's totally gonna happen today, but this is actually gonna be a little combo. Maybe a shad spawn, maybe a little lake breakdown, but that's what we got for you. So we're gonna get ahead, we're gonna keep covering water. I don't see any surface activity, so I'm not gonna slow down, I'm gonna keep going. Shad spawn is a high intensity style of fishing, and that's what you're gonna see this morning. So we're gonna keep moving. It's just kind of hard to tell because it was so early, but it looked like that water on the other end was cleaner than this end. But like I said, it's kind of hard to tell. I was really hoping that they'd give it away by just like, you know, you see some surface activity, you see some pushing, but I haven't even really seen much of it, very little. There's one, little guy. That's a first bite. This week here, we are on a 2-pound minimum, but it's our first bite. And I don't know what that tells us. It's just a little male bass, a little 1.5-pounder. I'm starting to see, what I'm noticing is on the main body, the water clarity is terrible. But you get on this inside hydrilla edge and it cleans up a lot. And that, I mean, that's pretty textbook. You see that a lot, pretty much everywhere you go. A lot of times that inside edge will just clean up. And as soon as I got in here, I caught that one. I seen a couple blow up, so maybe this is a deal. But wrong size, but it is our first bite of the morning anyway, so we're gonna get ahead and keep fishing around, keep bouncing around. I caught that one on a bladed jig. I've been throwing a top water, been throwing a frog, been throwing a swim jig. But this grass is really, really nice on this inside edge. We just have to see if we can find, a lot of times if there's a little void in the grass, that can concentrate them. So that's what we're gonna try to find. I wasn't looking at it, so I couldn't tell. Oh. I wasn't looking, so I couldn't tell if it was a gar or not, but just had that bite on a frog. And you always got to have a follow-up bait. And to me, my #1 bait is definitely a fluke. Comes through the cover really well. It's just a cleanup bait. So that fish actually showed itself, but unfortunately, you know, still not the right size. But the one thing that we do have going on that I'm liking is we have cleaner water back here. So I'm gonna keep on fishing around. This lake really isn't that big. And I can already tell you it's definitely fishing different than what I thought. So we just gotta keep bouncing around, trying different things. But lakes like this, there's only so much you can do. You know, it's gonna be a flipping, frogging, chatterbaiting. I think it's really gonna come down to just finding a magical, 50 to 75 yard stretches. And, that's probably where they're just grouped up, underneath these mats and around this hydrilla. Finally got a nice bite. All right. I start seeing some activity, guys. It's just, man. So I was throwing that frog and, I wasn't really getting many bites. I only had one little one push it. That one right there is actually going. That's probably gonna be a 3-pounder. Let's put him on the Bubba scale real quick. I'm just curious. It's a 3-pound minimum championship day. I want to gauge my eyes, see what we got going on here. But I've been really bouncing back and forth between a bladed jig, a top water. Had that one on the fluke. All right, this just goes to show you how tough this tournament's about to be. This is a 213. This is a brand new lake, and that's a beautiful largemouth, but he's a little skinny post spawner. And championship day in this tournament's gonna be a 3-pound minimum. But the thing about breaking down a new lake, we're out here again on Orange, and really thought there's gonna be a shad spawn going on. But the one thing that I realized pretty quickly is that the main body is extremely dirty. But once you get on this inside hydrilla edge, it cleans up a lot. And that's where all of our bites came so far this morning. So definitely take into consideration, water clarity whenever you're running around a lake. We pretty much did a whole hot lap, and that's pretty much what I've seen. Sometimes there are pockets of clear water, but one thing that I've noticed, especially in the state of Florida, you want to be around clean water. And we've done that, and we've got a couple bites. So we just got to keep on covering water, and hopefully this is going to be a good pattern. Another one. All right, this might actually be a deal here. Second bite. Again, non-scoreable on Major League Fishing terms, but nevertheless another bite. We're out here trying to break this lake down, and I've been told a long time ago 90% of the bass live in 10% of the water, and that is about the truest statement I've ever heard in bass fishing. So there's a lot of dead water, which basically what that means is there's a lot of dead water in a lot of lakes that you go to throughout the country, and it's all about covering as much water as you can. And that is one reason why I use MillerTech lithium batteries, because you try to cover as much water as you can in practice. You're stomping on it, and that's what we did. So we're gonna go ahead and continue doing that. I feel like we got a good little deal going now. We got a couple clues, and the whole thing is we just got to find these little voids in the grass on the inside edge, which may be a little tough to find, but we got plenty of power behind us, so we're gonna stomp on this trolling motor, keep it on 70–80%. There's one right there pushing. There's one right there pushing, small one, not a big one. And hopefully we run into a couple groups. That's the goal. All right, putting the first waypoint on Orange Lake. That's a big one. Oh my gosh, you come off. Oh, these that big. I think he got in the grass. Did he come off? No, he's still on there. He's not big. Gosh dang, he owned me. Oh my God, 2-minute fish foot landing violation. Another bite though, guys. We're getting some bites. I mean, small little largemouth, but again, it's doing the same thing. Throwing a bladed jig in this hydrilla. I mean, guys, anytime you come around a body of water fishery that's got grass, it's green like that, you know it's going to be a player. And again, you can see there's a little point, a little mat right here. He was just on the outside edge of that. And this water, I mean, it went from 4 inches of visibility to probably like 2 feet. And somewhere on this lake, there's going to be a little secondary ditch that these bass are going to be ganged up in. And the cool thing about this, a lot of times, it's all about just putting your trolling motor down and covering as much water as you can to find that, because these places are so hard to navigate because they're so choked out with this water being low. It's just a perfect little recipe though. They can't be up there super shallow. They got to be in a little depression. And so far, that's the clue that we've gotten out here. And the thing about Florida, from my experience, you know, bass fishing a lot of tournaments, just fishing various places, when you come to this state, you catch a lot of small ones. You'll catch a 1.5 pound or pound and a half or pound and a half or 8 pounder, 1.5 pound or 1 pounder, 1.75 pound, 6 pounder. So I really think as long as we keep generating bites, we're gonna put ourselves in position to catch a really big one. Gosh dang, that one ate it just under the surface. Again, they're eating it though. They're not short striking it, they're eating it. Hey, let me give you guys a little tip real quick. For all you tournament bass fishermen out there, don't ever put puncturing call clips in a bass. There's no need for that. Get yourself a pack of TH Marine call clips, non-puncturing, put them on their lips. My man's trying to eat out here, working hard. That sucker eats a minnow and he swims through the hole of his lip. He's gonna be pissed. All right, so we're about 2 hours in or so into the day, and really covered a lot of water, fishing shallow, and you know, didn't really see what I wanted to see. I really thought there could have been a shad spawn, there could have been a bluegill spawn, so I wanted to spend some time, you know, fishing up there shallow around that hydrilla and on the inside hydrilla line. Now, don't get me wrong, I do think you catch some bass doing that, but with the water being down, I think now what I'm going to get ahead and do is I'm going to get out in the middle of the lake and I'm going to get ahead and I'm going to try to find anything isolated that has a little bit of depth on it. I think that's probably going to be how the majority of the fish are going to concentrate too. It's just, you know, anytime you're in a low water situation, they like to get on isolated objects. So we're going to spend some time behind this console here in the Icon, really staring at these Lowrance units, trying to utilize side scan. You know, you can do that again with forward facing, but for me, you know, I spent a lot of time scanning with side scan, trying to find little voids in the grass, maybe anything isolated. That's going to be the plan here for this next little while. But that's essentially what I'll do. You know, when I break down a lake, I start in one area doing one thing, and I jump over to another area doing something else, because there's going to be a pattern that's going to dominate on any body of water that you are on. And so far, we are still trying to find that. So when you're breaking down a new body of water, there's a few things that I always like to take into consideration. Right here, I'm actually looking for some isolated stuff, but I always like to take into consideration water temperature, time of year, and then moon phase. Moon phase is a really big deal, especially when you're talking about any type of spawn, whether it be bass spawn, bluegill spawn, shad spawn. You really want to get ahead and take a close eye on what that moon phase is. And the number one thing out of all of those is to cover a lot of water. And there's no better way to cover water than with the big motor and on trolling motor. And the good thing is, with all the guys running lithium batteries, especially the MillerTechs, you've got plenty of juice to get ahead and do that. So that is my number one tip for you guys. Cover a lot of water and really try to see a very big portion of the lake, because again, there is going to be a magical zone, and in order to find that, a lot of times you need to see the majority of that lake. So appreciate you guys tuning in. It's been fun, and I'm going to get ahead and try to find the needle in the haystack.